Hi, George Durkee, Geography 66, creating web maps with ArcGIS Online. And in this, lesson 9, we'll use the Survey123 form we created in lesson 8, and we'll add it to a web map. And then from that, we'll create an app. And in both cases, you'll be able to edit and add data to the Survey123 form, as well as keep track of the data that's being collected. So let's go back to our survey form and look at a set of options for who can fill it out and what sort of editing options they'll have. And some of these settings can be changed in the feature layer itself, but you can also do it from here. So what you do is you go to Collaborate, and here you have a whole bunch of options here. Here's your short URL, and whether you ask the owner to open in a browser or whatever. You can embed the form in a web site of your own, but when you do that, you've got to set sharing level to everyone. And as I said, for the moment, let's just keep it in our Columbia College organization or even just your own account. And so you scroll down, and here's the main thing of what we're interested in here. What can submitters do? So when a person goes to submit a wildlife observation, the submitter can only update or delete their own record. So if they put something in and make a mistake, they can change that, and they can go back onto that form and change it at any time. But you can also change the settings, so you can add that they can update and change other records and delete other records. Which, again, for a public map, you probably don't want to do, but there may be individuals who you want to give those permissions to. And if you have a longer form, you can enable what's called a draft mode, and then that allows them to, the form saves as it goes along. So if they have to go back at some later time, and continue it, they can do that. But our form isn't long enough for that. And then, of course, we've allowed multiple submissions so they can go back and add another one. And if you remember, we had the form open back up to submit another uh, observation. Anyway, those are the basics, and we'll just save those. Now let's go find the feature layers you created when you were creating your Survey123 form. So in My Content in your college AGOL account, you're at All My Content, and you scroll down. In my case, we go quite a ways down here. When Survey123 saves a form, it creates it under Survey as the main title, and then I titled mine Survey Wildlife Observation Report, and you can, if you forgot that, you can go back to what you named it. Though in your guys' case, there's probably nothing else here, so it's probably the only thing that you've got saved. And when you click on your survey, you'll notice that we have 4 feature layers automatically created by the survey you created. And each of those has a different purpose, and we'll go through them here. The first one is just the form. So I'm going to open it in another tab here. And this, all this does is just bring you back to your form creator. So you can open it in Survey123. So that just takes you back to, obviously, Survey123, where you can work on it further. And these others have to do with the permissions you give to yourself and to other people when they create the form. So you'll notice this one says hosted and view. And if you remember from our first week of classes. The view layer is one that doesn't allow outside editing. Although in this case, we just set up in the collaboration tab, this will allow us, the individual responding to the survey, to edit his or her own. We've opened the dashboard of tools. We go to settings here and scroll down here, and in editing, it enables editing, but it restricts editing to only see the features that they created. And you can also track who enters stuff. So it'll have their EGOL account as to who created it. And as you remember, it allows only to add new features that we allowed earlier. And so next is the report form. And in this one, this is what the creator of the form has. So this allows editing by you, the creator, and you can also extend those permissions to others if you want. In any event, this has full editing capabilities. And last is the results feature layer, hosted and view. So the view, of course, gives you an idea of what's going to be allowed. But in this case, nobody. This is just, as it says, the results. And as it says, this is just the results view. So you keep a running tab of everything that's being entered. Now you can enable editing if you just want to use it yourself. And you can enable syncing for other folks being able to edit results. So now for our purposes, we're going to create a public map where people can enter the data, and then you would later create a hosted layer where you can edit and view the data that's coming in. So let's click on that again, and we'll open it in Map Viewer. And incidentally, I haven't mentioned it before, I don't think, but Scene Viewer is the 3D app for as reviewers. So you can look at stuff in 3D, just a globe type view, just like Google Earth or something like that. And you can also open it in Arc Desktop um, and do other things. You can publish and export the data itself. And of course, the share settings are there, but we won't change those at the moment. One thing we didn't do is define an extent. We did define an extent, as you remember, from within Survey123, but I've noticed that hasn't been taking when you open your map. So before we actually open it in Map Viewer, let's head back to Settings. And let's also prevent this from being accidentally deleted and save that. And scroll down a little bit here and edit extent. And up comes a box which defines the current extent, which, as I said, is the whole world, which it shouldn't have been, but here we are. And you can do it either by working with the blue tab here, or let's go to Tuolumne County again. And then it narrows in on there. And you can do a couple of things. You can actually draw the extent, or we can once again maneuver the box such that it covers the area you want to have for the extent. So, well, it's kind of big, but you can, let's narrow it down a little bit here to the Stanislaus and center it more over 108. That's pretty good there. Let's save that. So that'll be the extent. When anybody opens the map, that's what it'll focus on. And obviously you customize that to whatever area of the survey you want covered. People can go outside of the the extent you've set, you know, if they have data for outside of that. But that just makes the map itself a little more manageable when they focus in on your main area. Okay, back to our overview, and let's open in Map Viewer. And notice how it zooms right in to the extent we set. And I'm going to go in a little closer here. I'm up in Arnold. There we go. So at the moment, the only feature layer we have set here is for the Wildlife Observation Report Form. And what we're doing is we're creating a web map so that you can then create a web app and have folks enter in wildlife observation data. So we can get a couple things out of the way here. Let's set our visibility range for the point, the survey point, and put it down at the county level. Well, we could even go up a little counties, and then keep it so it zooms all the way into the room level. And you can edit your layer style here. So if you wanted it right now, you noticed it was at a red point there, but we can change that. And at the moment, we have it set for just based on its location. But we can also up here, as we did in week 1, we can tie the symbol to a field and an expression if we wanted to. So for instance, you could create a map that shows a little bear icon symbol for a bear and associate a particular symbol with a particular icon. Unfortunately, we don't have those. We've got a pretty limited symbol set here. Although you can create your own by images, and I'll try and supply a video to show you guys how to do that. So right now we're using a basic point, but you can also go into your choices here. So you've got basic shapes, you've got firefly, which are kind of more intense symbols, maybe government. Well, I got some better ones here. We've got a little bird. Oh, we got a paw. Let's choose that as a symbol. Let's tell it to adjust size automatically with the zoom level. And we'll call that done. But you can go through those, explore the symbol sets you have available, and there's also a way to download your own symbol and size it correctly. In fact, now let's look at that real quickly here. So you go there, we go back to the symbol, back to the types of symbols, and then you can go to uploaded symbols and drag and drop JPEG, PNG, etc. Into here to create your own customized symbol. But that's not what we want. Well, it is maybe, but let's call that done and done. And next, let's test it out. If you go down here, we've highlighted once again our feature layer, and we go down to edit. And then let's create the only editable layer, which is our feature. And let's put it at the lake here. And then your name, email address, a date. So let's choose, and it gives a time, the date of the observation. Let's give it last week. Definition of the critter, bird. Species select. Now you'll remember on the drop down here, we just filled in bear, raccoon, and skunk, but we'll choose other. And then that allows you to fill it in, and I'll put a bald eagle hunting the lake. Let's see, white tail, brown wings, big. So notice here at the bottom that you can add an attachment, such as a photo or anything else. But we're not going to update it. We'll just call that good. And then were you to hover to select new feature, you could add yet another feature, observation. Now, one other thing to consider here is that you created a bare bones observation map that will turn into an app. So we've only got the one feature layer here. This is pretty bare bones as far as the map goes, and that might be exactly what you want. You do have the option, though, of adding other data that might be useful. So you could add a layer of vegetation. So for instance, the tree types that define a particular area. And the state of California has done a pretty good uh, feature layer. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it online, but if you go to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, you can actually download a geodatabase that has the whole thing there. But that's more than what we're covering in this class. But that's just a thought to familiarize you guys with what's out there. And then you'd have to pull it into Arc Pro and then upload it to Arc Online. So that's kind of a hassle for what we're doing. So I'm just pointing that out to show you, tell you that there is other data that might help with the form and how people enter data and what they learn from the process. And of course, you might decide that the base map that's available might not be what helps people jog their memory or whatever. So right now we have a topo map in there, but you might decide the satellite image is better. And of course, when we do the app, that will be one of the choices you can put into the app. Okay, so for a bare bones map, and this is, as I said, what we're going to create the app from. Let's save and save as, because we haven't given it a name. And let's call this wildlife observations form. And we'll save it, closing in on it, in the report folder, tags and entry map to enter wildlife observations web map. Let's call it web map just. There we go. Okay, save. Okay, so let's call this good as far as creating the web map goes. So as we've covered previously, you can create your app right from here, from your web map, and it'll automatically put in this web map for your app. Or we can do it from your contents and the feature layer itself. So in the next video, we'll go into how to create your basic app and also how to see the data that's been created. So thanks.